Today we're going to continue talking about solving inequalities, and these inequalities are going to be multi-step. That means that we could have addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division in any one of our problems. So the same rules apply for multiplication and division in a multi-step problem. If you add or divide, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, then you have to switch the sign. Just want to throw that out there. But here's our first problem. 4x plus 6 is greater than or equal to 54. So the first thing I do, just like when I'm solving an equation, is I take away my addition or subtraction that I have there. So I have plus 6 here, I need to subtract 6. And I'm left with 4x is greater than or equal to, and 54 minus 6 is 48. So I divide both sides by 4. And I'm left with x is greater than or equal to 12. And to graph that, once again, I draw my number line, put 12 on there, and x is greater than or equal to, so I have a closed dot on 12, and I'll put my arrow to the right. Okay, so my next problem is w over 5, or over negative 5, minus 2 is greater than or equal to 3. So, once again, the first thing that I do is I get rid of my addition or subtraction, and here I have a minus 2, so I want to add 2 to both sides. And I'm left with w over negative 5 is greater than or equal to 5. Now, as I said before, the rules for multiplying or dividing negative numbers still apply. So to get rid of this negative 5, I'm going to have to multiply by negative 5. So I have to multiply by negative 5 on this side also. So now I'm left with w, and since I multiply by a negative, I have to switch the sign. So w is less than or equal to negative 25. And to graph that, once again, have my number line, put negative 25 on there. Since it is equal to, close circle, less than, going to the left. So my next problem is negative 1/3 times the quantity of x plus 21 is less than 2. So you guys have done distributive property before, so that's the first thing that we're going to do here. So I have negative 1/3 times x, so it's negative 1/3 x, and then negative 1/3 times 21, which gives me a negative 7, is less than 2. So now I just go into my multi-step solving, and I do plus 7, so I have negative 1/3 x is less than, and 2 plus 7 is 9. And so to get rid of this negative 1/3, I have to divide by negative 1/3, which is the same thing as multiplying by negative 3 over 1. So if I multiply both sides by negative 3 over 1, then these are going to cancel out. I'm left with x over here. Since I multiplied by a negative number, I have to change my sign. And 9 times negative 3 over 1 gives me negative 27. And once again, to graph that, number line, negative 27. And since x is x is greater than negative 27, I put an open circle, and my arrow going to the right. Okay, now I'm given the inequality 8x plus 3 is greater than 2 times the quantity of 4x plus 1. The first thing that I need to do is my distributive property, like I would always do. So now I'm left with 8x plus 3 is greater than 8x, because 2 times 4x is 8x, plus, and 2 times 1 is 2. And now the first thing I have to do is get my variables on one side. So I would subtract 8x over here, subtract it over here. Both of these cancel out, and I'm left with 3 is greater than 2. And I know you're thinking, Mr. Chiser, how can we have an answer of 3 is greater than 2? Well, in this case, if you ever get down to here, you can have 2 possible answers. Your answers can either be all real numbers, which means that your solution that you got is a true solution, Or you can have the answer no solution, which means that your answer over here was a false solution. So if we look back to our 3, excuse me, 3 is greater than 2. Is 3 greater than 2? Yes, it is. So we know that this is a true solution. Therefore, our answer down here would be all real numbers. So now we're given 3 times the quantity of 8b minus 1 is less than or equal to 24b minus 4. So once again, the first thing we do is distributive property. So 3 times 8b is 24b. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Is less than or equal to 24b minus 4. First thing I want to do is get my variables on one side. So I'm going to subtract 24b over here. Both of these cancel out, and I'm left with negative 3 is less than or equal to negative 4. Now, let's look at this statement. Is negative 3 less than, excuse me, or equal to negative 4? No, it's not. So we know that this is a false statement. And if we look back over here, if we have a false statement, that means that our answer is no solution. So down here, where it says negative 3 is less than or equal to negative 4, I'm going to put no solution. So here are your 2 practice problems for tonight. You have negative p, or negative 10p is greater than 6p minus 8, and 6 times the quantity of x plus 3 is less than 6x plus 18. Remember to turn these in as an assignment on Edmodo, and good luck.